Hey guys, this is Hamon, and welcome back to Bytesize, the show where I review games that I've taken interest in. They have to be old, they have to be new, they just have to be something I'm interested in. And today, we're going to be talking about Mimesis, or Mimesis. I am not entirely sure which way to pronounce it, but it is a Lethal Company clone that takes a mod of a game and makes it part of the core gameplay. I'll explain in gameplay. So, there's not necessarily a story to this one, just like every other one of these. That all you are is a bunch of plague doctor mask wearing scavengers in a post-apocalyptic world collecting random junk that is worth some amount of money while dealing with monsters and all that. That's generally it. And for a game as this, it's not bad. Like, in terms of the graphics, it's very cartoonish in its designs and everything, from the NPCs to, well, NPCs I say, but it's mostly enemies, to the player characters themselves. Like, it's all very interesting in their designs and all that. The world itself is very interesting, considering there's only a couple of places I've been to so far. And I'm sure as the game progresses, they'll probably update and add new worlds to explore and all that. So I'm not gonna hold my breath and say that this is the best that they're gonna do and all that, because just like with Repo, they can likely surprise me with so many new things. And not just new maps, they could probably add some new enemies as well. Speaking of the enemies, they're all very interesting. Some of them do have mechanics reminiscent of other Lethal Company clone games, such as the Monkey Man, which gives me the vibes of the Invisible Man from Repo. There is the Owl Man, which I am not entirely sure what their deal is. What I do know is that if you approach them, they will try to attack you, but otherwise they seem to stay still to a degree, and I'm not entirely sure how they work exactly. But I'm sure if I look it up or play the game enough, I'll figure it out. But either way, they're a very interesting enemy. You have other ones that have similar mechanics to various enemies from like Lethal Company itself, or just enemies that will just bump you, like hurt you if you get too close to them. And the other thing is, just like with most of these, the maps are procedurally generated. Like, as you get into them, like every time you enter a new place, despite the fact that it's technically the same area, the map will always be different. And so it's always a mystery of what you'll be dealing with down there. Now, to get into them more, we're going to have to go into gameplay. Like most Lethal Company clones, the idea is to go into a place, get the items in there, leave, make money, and do stuff. And this one is no different. The whole goal is to get money off of the scrap you find to upgrade your vehicle to go further, I suppose, in a way. And this is fine and all that, but the more unique aspect of this is that, well, the Mimic. I didn't mention it in the graphics section because technically they're you, and I can mean that literally, because what happens is that as you progress in the game, sure, you deal with the other monsters, but the most important one to keep an eye out for is the Mimic, because what they do is that they listen, and when they listen, they can repeat after you. So if you're playing a game with 2 to 3 people, you might hear things that you've already said or they've already said, and it's hard to tell, especially as you go further, because the more you talk, the more they learn of how to talk like you. And so at times it could be something that you've said previously that was really funny or out of pocket, quote unquote. So it's it's a very interesting thing to keep an eye out for. And the crazy thing is, though, technically you could do this in Lethal Company. However, in order to do that in that one, you need a mod for it. So, in general, this is basically the modded version of Lethal Company just for funsies. Because, if anything, I would probably say Mimesis, or Mimesis, whichever you want to call it, took the idea and was like, let's expand it a bit. Let's make it a bit more complex, but also fun. Because, like I said, they will say whatever you said, whether it's through the loudspeakers, whether it's through the megaphone that you find, or if it's just you talking in general. So, yeah, best make sure you know them well. All in all, this is a really interesting way of playing another Lethal Company clone, and I definitely would recommend checking it out if you want that kind of head-scratching moment. So, with all that said, this is just check it out. It's available on Steam for the price that you see here, and that's all I'll really say. The rest you'll have to find out on your own. But with all that said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Bytesize. If you did, please leave a like, favorite, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I'm going to leave you with a bit more gameplay of this, so do enjoy. But otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye! Hopefully this one goes a little better. Well, so far nothing immediate. That's kind of disappointing. Oh, here we are. We have that. You know, part of the thing that's the problem with some of these games is that it gets very